Enjoy this free episode from MyOutdoorTV.
Buckle up and get ready for a fun ride.
With over 20,000 episodes of the best outdoor shows with your free trial, we're the home of the adventurous.
We're in a bad spot. We need help.
The champions.
When it's your time to win, you can't stop it.
The legends.
There are bigger things happening out here than just shooting bullets at animals.
Start your free trial of MyOutdoorTV right now.
On my first trip to Kodiak, I couldn't help but imagine how the first mountain men felt when they headed west, ready to take on a wild and untamed land. I felt a similar feeling then, and I feel it again now. Even though this will be my second trip to Kodiak, this is just one of those places you can never feel fully prepared for. The mystique, uncertainty, and adventure that go along with a hunt like this really do make it the stuff dreams are made of. 3 years ago, I stood on this very same dock with knots in my stomach. Everything about that trip was a first for me. My first time on Kodiak, my first float plane trip, my first time setting up camp in brown bear country, seeing my first Sitka blacktail buck, and then holding those antlers. Hunting this island has been a dream of mine since I was a boy. That first trip checked every box off the list, and as soon as we loaded into that float plane to leave, I knew I had to return. This time we're staying on a boat with the ability to hunt different areas every day if need be. My buddies and I booked this trip over 2 years ago. We've been planning and preparing ever since. Still, everything about this hunt feels different, but the one thing that is the same is that knot in my stomach. With years to plan for this moment, you'd think my confidence would be sky high, but I know just enough about hunting in Alaska to realize that much is out of my control. You just have to be willing to do whatever it takes and enough wisdom to not be foolish. Well, we just got to shore here on day one. It's kind of a bonus day. Typically, when you're flying in, sometimes you don't get here until later in the day, but we got here early, so we got a few hours before dark. So this is totally different than when we hunted at Kodiak 3 or 4 years ago. We're on a boat this time, not camping. Super excited to be here. I mean, it's just an incredible day. I mean, for mid-November in Alaska, to have a day like this is just a godsend. So we're gonna try to take advantage of it back in Alaska. This part of the island is so different than where we were before, even though it's not probably more than 20 air miles from here. Where before we had tundra going up to good mountains, not just as big as these, but more grassier, simpler slopes, more gravelly, whereas this has got a lot more brush. All this country's way brushier. It's definitely going to be more of an optics hunt than the hunt before, because the hunt before, deer were pretty easy to see. They were either standing out or they weren't. But here, I mean, there could be deer. There could be 20 deer right here close to us, and you got to find them. The other thing that's going to be totally different with this brush is it's going to slow things up a bunch. I mean, we only came maybe 300 yards from shore, and it probably took us a good 20 minutes, and we broke a sweat doing it. Whereas where we before zoom 3 miles, you could do that in an hour, hour and a half. Here, 3 miles could take you half a day. Of course, the other thing that's cool about the boat is if we don't like, if we're not finding deer in one spot, we just move to another spot. So we're going to be able to hunt different places every day if we choose to, or we can stay in one spot for a while if we're finding deer. I mean, this week, they should really start to rut, so we're going to be able to try calling, rattling, grunting, lots of different things to get deer to move for us and help us find them a little bit better. And then from what the guys tell me, that, man, if you hit a buck right, he'll just come charging in. You better be ready, because he'll just come flying in. It's kind of fun to do it different, It's not go back to the same place and do the same thing over again when you've got, a million square miles to work with. So I'm looking forward to the change, the difference. Say that now. Day 5, I might be screaming, but right now, I'm looking forward to the change.
The Western Hunter is presented by Browning, the best there is. Benchmade knives, the most advanced hunting knives ever. Wilderness Athlete, fuel for the rugged. Option Archery, bringing target precision to hunting camp. Matthews Archery. Crispy Boots. And Western Hunter Magazine.
Well, we made it through the worst of the alders, I think. Cross our fingers. It's crazy. You can see the boat down there. It took us a good hour to go 200 yards. I mean, it's just a fight. Not only is it with the snow on the ground and the wet vegetation underneath the snow and the steepness, it'd be a tough climb just without those alders, and then you get that pushback from those things. This is going to be a way different hunt for sure. The ground is going to come at a price, but we got a bit of a short day today. We only got a couple more hours to hunt before we got to start moving back down. Hopefully find a better trail, because we might be back in here tomorrow. Made it up here almost to the top. It's one of those ridge lines that just keeps adding elevation, it feels like. We've done the worst of it anyways. We got a few more hours still. Give us a little time, maybe poke up here, look, get a feel for this country a little bit. Because the one thing about starting from the water, ridges go up like that and you can't see past them. You can't feel what the terrain's really doing past the first ridge line. There's a buck. Well, he's definitely cruising. I'm not sure where he's heading, but he's on the patrol. Sure, good to see one buck, even if he is what I would call a first day shooter. Got to start somewhere. Like I was thinking, these deer aren't going to be easy to see unless they're right out in the open. They're definitely, there was a couple of deer 400 yards from me I saw for 10 seconds, and I haven't seen them again. I don't know what they did. One of the things that's a little bit tough about hunting here this time of year, middle of November, late November, is the days are really short. You need to be back at shore by dark. When you spot a deer, it's going to take a couple hours to kill it, process it, get it on your back, and make it back to the shore. So somewhere around 3 o'clock, you've got to start thinking that you're scouting for tomorrow. But anyways, we're going to punch on up to the top here and get a look on this other side. There's another doe. It's more than 10 or 12 deer we've seen. And then we saw that good buck over there. He's a 3x3, definitely a shooter. He's just well over a mile and a canyon between him and us. We only have probably 30 minutes. We'd have to get it done. It's not going to happen tonight. But man, overall, it's just been a great day. I mean, we had a beautiful morning, really nice flight in, incredible scenery, get settled on the boat, get our gear ready, get out and hunt, actually find a good buck. I mean, that's a heck of a first day.
The Western Hunter is presented by Swarovski Optic. See the unseen. Browning Ammunition. Outdoorsman's Packs and Tripods. Base Map. Own the outdoors. Phelps Game Calls. Get 'em close. Tally, the world's finest optics mounting system. And Dark Timber Coffee Company.
This is day 2 for us. We decided last night to go ahead and move. We came up about 30-40 minutes up this bay just to hit some different spots. The wind has changed. It's a little windier this morning, probably 10, 12. We just figured let's move up here so we can at least all hit the shore with the winds in our face instead of the winds at our back. Matt and Jeremy and Robbie and Jay are already heading to shore. They're going to hit this mountain range over here, and then we're going to hit another one back over here. It's crazy. The sun takes forever to get up, but it's been gray light, it seems like, for an hour now, and it's still pretty much gray light. excited. Just feel like I got the kinks worked out yesterday. Got a good night's sleep, and so I'm excited. I feel like today's like really getting started. Good to go. Good evening, you are, sir. All set. Nice to meet you. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
So this spot, when you come out, is kind of tide dependent. High tide is at 1:30.
Oh, we're on shore. It was funny getting out of the boat and stepping on solid ground, even though, I mean, the boat has been super smooth, the water's been super smooth. It is strange, just kind of always having that little teeter-totter feeling going. I mean, getting on land just feels stable. But we're having just an absolutely gorgeous morning here. There's always that one time during a trip to Alaska where you just have this moment. You're like, where am I? How did I get here? It's just so epic everywhere you look that it just blows your mind, and you have to soak it in for a few minutes before you can even get back to work, because it's like you just got transported into another universe here. But it's 9 o'clock, so this is technically right about sunrise right now, 9 a.m. It always just kind of feels like you're on the clock with these short days. The buck should be rutting, so we should be able to, hunt effectively the whole time. But I just feel like there's like a sense of urgency from the very beginning that you just don't have earlier in the season. So we got up to the spot, and the sun just lit that ridge line, that hill up over there. And even though that wasn't my plan was to go back this way, all of a sudden deer started popping up, and bucks, and then bucks and does, and now bucks are chasing does, and bucks are chasing bucks. It's just kind of chaos down there. Yeah, we're gonna head down there and just get closer, try to keep some elevation if possible, because it's pretty flat where they are. But we need elevation to be able to get a shot. You can see how thick this stuff, even when it looks flat, it's still got brush that's 3 feet high too. So there's gonna be nothing easy about it, but man, there's like 3 or 4 bucks there I'd be thrilled to death with, so hopefully one of them will pan out. I still see a couple of deer moving around, but just dropping this much elevation, I've lost some. The wind is a little sketchy. It felt like it was starting to churn. I'm watching the grass down there, and it's blowing up the valley. I'm gonna spend a few minutes here, see if I can figure out where these deer are. And I'm just kind of hoping as the sun heats the morning up that this wind direction will change. The other thing the reason why I'm like being so doggone careful right now is first of all, they're really good bucks. Second of all, you couldn't find a better place to kill a deer in this country. Getting these deer back to the boat would be about as easy as it can get. So this might be the one and only shot we have like that on this hunt, where it's quote easy, Alaskan easy.
This segment is presented by Benchmade Hunt, the most advanced hunting knives ever. We've closed the distance for sure.
The wind started to shift a little bit. Crossing our fingers it stays like what it's doing right now, because it should allow us to get closer. What we need as much as anything is a place to shoot from. It's just so brushy in here that you can't just sit down and shoot from anywhere. So what I'm hoping to do is get to a spot where we can actually set up and see a couple hundred yards and shoot, hopefully see a deer there. But if not, try calling, try rattling and grounding, see if we can get a deer to close the distance to us, come out where we can see them. A little mix and match of whitetail hunting here. Son of a gun. I mean, literally, the little point that I wanted to get on, I was just working our way through this mess below us here. And I look up and one of our good bucks is standing on it, facing us. Got down, but I don't think he's spooked. I think he was just wandering around, but the wind is just terrible. We should have a couple more bucks over here, I hope. There's 3 bucks that are all about the same, so I'm not sure which one that was. It was just one of the good bucks for sure. So we're just gonna sneak up here and get on this little high point. It's a little frustrating because there's just no obvious shooting positions in here. Well, I should have known there would be a river in this bottom. Fortunately, I got this out of temporary waders, Wookiees makes. Nate told me about them. And I was at the last minute, I was like, gosh, I gotta get those. You never know up here. Because right there, that's wet boots. You don't have waders. Crossing the creek wasn't a bad idea. I literally got to the other bank here, and I spotted a shooter buck up here. It's funny, I looked at it from up there, I thought, oh, if we could get down here, man, we got it made. And I get down here, and I'm like, just like everything in Alaska, it's not near as easy as it looks. It's not even easy, it's always hard, no matter what you do. But at some point, we're gonna catch a break this morning. We've been within 1,000 yards of bucks for 3 hours now. I mean, at some point, we're gonna catch a break. Besides the one we did catch, and it was too good a break. Unfortunately, I stopped right here because one more step and he'd see me. Yeah, he's walking, he's looking the other way. Just pop right over here really quickly. He hasn't moved, so he's 150 yards. He's dead. Man, I've been thinking all morning. We have been so close all morning. I mean, close, inside 1,000 yards playing cat and mouse. And I kept telling Randy, it could happen any time. I mean, we're just gonna catch a break, and these deer are just moving around. And there's like 4 bucks in here that I saw this morning. They were all shooters, and I saw that, and I was like, that's a really good buck. He's a really good buck too. And then he just walked out there, pretty as could be, and gave us a chance to come over here and get set up. I love nice close shots, especially in Alaska. Running around in the alders looking for a wounded deer when you got 1,000-pound brown bears running around. And we still got about a mile to the water. And every time you think something's easy, it's not. So I'm just gonna keep telling myself this is gonna be super tough. And maybe it'll go the other direction, not be quite so tough. What an awesome buck. I mean, he's spectacular. Finding 3x3s, you know, with good eye guards like this, it could be hard to do. Then to find one that's got mass like this and color like this. I mean, it just has all the appearances of a really old buck. Big old body. I could hunt Kodiak a bunch more years and not take another buck this nice. It is that kind of buck. Man, all day long we've been just bouncing around these low rolling hills here. We've seen these deer, or we saw them from up on top this morning, knowing that we'd have to just get down here and then mess with them to even get a chance at a shot. And we just kept poking through the brush, looking for an opportunity, and man, it came in spades. I mean, he's got mass, he's got age, he's got length, 3x3. He's just a spectacular buck. We got to get him up and get to the shore here pretty quick. It's just crazy how fast the lights change. I mean, it's been a bright sunny day in Alaska and we spent the entire day in the shade. We'll get warm on the pack out here pretty quick. After an entire day of playing cat and mouse, working the wind, and using every bit of cover, it paid off. In the years since the last hunt, I had dreamed about taking a buck like this, and it happened on our first full day. Most of the time when I'm breaking an animal down and packing it out, I'm reflecting on the end of a hunt, planning the trip home, and maybe even thinking about the next hunt. But not this time. This hunt is far from over. I have another tag in my pocket, so tomorrow we'll be landing on another beach.
We hope you've enjoyed this free episode. To continue watching, start your free trial now.